December 11, 2008. A cold Thursday morning in New York. At 8:30 a.m., FBI agents climbed the elevator to the penthouse of 133 East 64th Street. They ring the bell. The door opens, and there stands Bernie Madoff, pajamas, bathrobe, slippers, looking smaller than the world ever imagined him. One of the agents says, "We're here to arrest you." Madoff does not protest. He simply nods, almost relieved, and says, "I know." For 40 years, he had been the quiet king of Wall Street. Banks, billionaires, Nobel laureates, Holocaust charities, pension funds. Entire family fortunes, everyone had begged to give him their money. And on the night of December 10th, in his Manhattan apartment, he finally told his two sons the sentence that ended it all. It's all one big lie. How does a single man convince the entire world that he has discovered the secret of steady riches in a chaotic market? And keep the secret for decades? And more terrifying still, would any of us have seen through him, or would we have lined up to? Bernard Lawrence Madoff was born on April 29, 1938, in Laurelton, Queens. The second child of Jewish parents who never quite escaped the margins of the American dream. His father, Ralph, ran a sporting goods store that quietly failed. His mother, Sylvia, registered as a broker-dealer out of the house to pay the bills after the IRS came knocking. Money in that home was always a problem that had to be solved with appearances. Young Bernie learned early. Credibility is more valuable than cash because credibility can always become cash. He was not a prodigy. Far Rockaway High School, 1 year of Alabama law, then Hofstra on Long Island Solid, never brilliant. What he had instead was discipline and charm in perfect proportion. At 21, he married his high school sweetheart, Ruth, saved $5,000 installing sprinklers and lifeguarding, and in 1960, with that modest stake, started Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities LLC. He promised himself one thing. He would never again be the kid from Queens who had to worry about money. He would become the man people trusted so completely that money would simply flow to him. And it did. In the beginning, everything was legitimate. Madoff was a scrappy market maker, trading penny stocks, willing to buy when others wouldn't sell, and sell when others wouldn't buy. He embraced the new technology of electronic trading before almost anyone else, installing pink terminals in brokerage houses and charging them for the privilege. By the 1980s, his firm was the largest market maker on Wall Street. In 1990, he became chairman of the NASDAQ. Photographs from that era show him standing beside presidents of exchanges. Calm, graying, always in a perfectly cut suit, the picture of restrained power. He never shouted. He never boasted. He simply became indispensable. That was the foundation. Everything that came later rested on one quiet truth. People believed Bernie Madoff was too respectable to lie. The private investment business he ran on the 17th floor of the Lipstick Building was invitation only. No website, no marketing. You had to know someone who already knew Bernie. And once you were in, the returns arrived with the regularity of a Swiss watch, 10 to 12% a year. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, but always positive, always serene. While the rest of Wall Street swung wildly up and down, Madoff's clients received statements showing smooth, ascending lines. He called it the split strike conversion strategy, a mouthful that sounded conservative and sophisticated at the same time. In reality, no such strategy was ever executed. There were no trades. There was only an Excel spreadsheet on a dusty server and a small team forging confirmations. New money paid old investors. That is all a Ponzi scheme is. It is the oldest fraud in the world dressed up in modern clothing. Madoff took the simplicity and made it monstrous. At its peak in 2008, his fictitious account statements claimed more than $65 billion under management. $65 billion that existed only on paper. And still, no one looked closely. Harry Markopolos, a rival money manager in Boston, figured it out in 1999, years before the collapse. He spent hours charting Madoff's returns and realized they were mathematically impossible. The line was too straight. Nature does not draw straight lines in financial markets. Markopoulos wrote detailed letters to the SEC titled "The World's Largest Hedge Fund is a Fraud." The SEC never interviewed Madoff under oath. They glanced, shrugged, and closed the file. Why? Because Madoff had built something more valuable than money, a reputation so immaculate that questioning it felt like bad manners. Fairfield Greenwich Group funneled him $8 billion without ever receiving a single electronic trade confirmation. Banks like Banco Santander and HSBC marketed him to their wealthiest clients. The more prestigious the feeder fund, the less anyone dared ask for proof. Doubt itself became the impolite act. Then came the autumn of 2008. Lehman Brothers collapsed. Credit markets froze. Investors who had never before asked for their money back suddenly wanted it all at once. Madoff needed $50 million by Christmas to cover redemptions. He didn't have 50 cents. On December 10th, he sat his sons Mark and Andrew down in his office and told them the investment advisory business was one big lie. His brother Peter, who ran the legitimate trading floor downstairs, learned the truth the same night. The sons called their lawyers. The lawyers called the FBI. 24 hours later, the most respected man on Wall Street was in handcuffs. The numbers that followed were apocalyptic. 50,000 people ruined. Life savings gone and the time it takes to open an envelope. A French aristocrat slit his wrists in his Manhattan apartment. A retired army major lost everything and suffered a fatal heart attack when the statement arrived. The Elie Wiesel Foundation for Humanity dedicated to remembering. The Holocaust was wiped out by a man whose own parents had fled European pogroms. On March 12, 2009, Madoff stood in a packed courtroom and pleaded guilty to 11 felony counts. He spoke in his usual calm voice, almost bored, saying he had started the fraud in the early 1990s when markets turned against him and he was ashamed but could not stop. The prosecutor asked for 150 years. Judge Denny Chin gave it to him the maximum, a symbolic burial in prison. Madoff nodded again, the same nod he gave the FBI agents at his door, and was led away. He died in April 2021 in a federal prison hospital in Butner, North Carolina. Still calm, still polite, still refusing most interviews. He never expressed remorse that felt genuine to anyone who lost everything. So what was he, in the end? A psychopath. A man possessed by greed so pure it erased empathy. Or something more ordinary and therefore more frightening. A disciplined, human being who discovered that one small lie, repeated with perfect consistency for long enough, can grow into a cathedral of deception so vast that even the liar himself forgets how to escape it. The Madoff scandal did not reveal flaws in regulation alone. It revealed a flaw in us. We want to believe that steady riches are possible. We want to believe that someone out there is smarter, calmer, and more decent than the chaos around us. And when that person appears, quiet voice, perfect manners, impeccable track record, we hand over everything without looking too closely. Because looking too closely would mean admitting that maybe no one is watching the store. Bernie Madoff is gone, but the hunger he fed is still here. It has simply moved to new addresses, new acronyms, new promises of safety in an unsafe world. So ask yourself quietly, honestly, who do you trust with your future? And when they hand you the statement with the perfect, unbroken line climbing forever upward, will you finally have the courage to ask for the proof? Or will you just smile, sign your name, and thank them for letting you in?